Coo, 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 coo. As in K-double-O-L, not cock-a-doodle. Regardless of how a proverbial neighbor from damn hell, of a rather creepy, stupid, crazy, and demon-possessed Catholic-like niggly acting faggoty or Catholic nigger faggot public nuisance of a problem neighbor could possibly be attempting to drive me completely bonkers, and likewise could possibly be attempting to drive me out of house or home. But then let's get this here going, y'all. This here social media broadcast. Simmer down, y'all. Simmer down, y'all. The broadcast is in play. Yeah, I'm on the air. And experts say even if COVID does take another bad turn with the new variant, pop up notification. This ain't no Big Baby Hooey TV show or Big Baby Hooey talk show. Come on now. Don't disrespect my social media channel. And likewise, social media chat room or social media your comment section. Well, maybe the children could say that about this here, but none of you grown-ups or grown folks or grown people be like attempting to disrespect me like that. Because it ain't happening. It ain't happening up here in the channel so far as my social media broadcast is concerned. You gotta be a hater to get the stepping, okay? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They say this one former ex-president of the USA has flushed paperwork documents stopping up a White House toilet bowl. Well, anyway, getting back to some of such other. President Biden renewing his calls to lower prescription drug prices. If you ain't up in this camp, if you ain't about this social media broadcast, practically and possibly first and foremost, then you ain't with what is being a true American is all about. Regardless of how a neighbor from damn hell could have possibly influenced me, regardless of whether or not a neighbor from damn hell could have possibly influenced me to have an either, regardless of whether or not a neighbor from damn hell could have possibly influenced me to have an even greater mental disorder, mental problem, other than how I do from time to time myself, being that my person suffers from that, manic depression, until I would have pulled out of a funk, regardless of who or what could have possibly caused it. But what if we want to check out some other social media broadcasts or video that could be greater? Well, if there is one great at the moment, then go for it. I ain't mad at you. If anything, I would encourage you to do so, especially if it's about a social media broadcast or video that could inform the general public or people at large about something that would be much more in their better interest to consider for their own personal safety and or personal survival, because I'm for that. But if it's not something so urgent, then if you ain't here in this social media broadcast, but mind you somewhere else, then you don't know what's happening. You don't know half as much as you should know. That if I'm trying to come at you keeping it 100 on at least one level, if not another, if there is a greater social media broadcast video to consider, then like I said before, so I said again, I ain't mad at you, then go for it. Because I could probably be going for it as well. If it has much greater content that could benefit me as well as anybody else, or ways it could serve to be in the better interest of us all, or to prove to be at everyone's advantage than disadvantage, or everybody's general welfare of persons being among ourselves represent not only the human species, but then nevertheless the global community as we have it for this international pandemic of biblically prophetic times for the end of the world, second coming of Christ. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if you hear y'all, and you hear what I'm saying? All these pop-up notifications. Sorry about that, y'all. What be like all my fans? From 10 to 100 to 1,000 to 1,000,000 plus, huh? From 10 to 100 to 1,000 to 1,000,000 plus, including visitors. From 10 to 100 to 1,000 to 1,000,000 plus, hopefully in time. If you're not already at that percentage, the percentile, racial statistics. Are there any children watching my broadcast or my video at the moment? If anything, the children are more entitled to watch and listen to it as well more than the grown-ups. We all could be as innocent as the little children if we can only remember when we were young, of whatsoever race and whatever walks of life, fashion of society, lifestyle preferences, then I don't think we would become subject to experiencing all of these here wars and rumors of wars that much more upon an increase to fulfill that of biblical prophecies so soon, much sooner than later. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Holding it down and being up on it for the holy grail of truth. Be I still be considered as a card-carrying member to 1% of MC, officially or unofficially or not, for the holy grail of truth and a sincerity and a sympathy and empathy. Then how you all doing? My folks, my peeps. My folks, my peeps, my folks, my peeps. I ask how you are doing as I speak my mind and speak from the heart on my mama. And God is my witness. Cross my heart and hope to God if I'm lying. God forbid, especially of the likes of those being of false brethren, false prophets, and antichrist or prosperity preachers or televangelists. God forbid. I ain't going out. I ain't going out. Quit doing that. Just to see you doing that like that here, man, kind of sends chills up my spine, goosebumps over my arm. Well, I be like, hoping you're not hurting your other hand. The way you pound it was still another one. I'm just down with the passion. Maybe with the passion of Christ for that matter, huh? Oh, sorry, Mel Gibson. My bad. I wasn't trying to disrespect you, bro. What my head to say about me? Don't disrespect me. I'm saying, take the cotton out of your ears and put it in your mouth. Don't disrespect me now. Come on, everybody, do like me yet. Come on. All right. Anyway, though, y'all years let's begin the basic intro as in introduction. Okay. If you please, without any further ado, everybody. Okay. Then how you all doing? Huh? Social media family, being any visitors to that then of my excuse me, I'm feeling quite up on the weather again. No, that's when I thought I was starting to feel better. I started to work again. Hopefully I started to feel better soon enough again. Getting tired of this roller coaster ride when it comes to my physical or mental health. Or whatever, whoever could possibly have caused it. You know what I'm saying? It's colder than yesterday. It's only 28 degrees right now in O'Hare. Winds are a little gusty out of the southwest, and those winds will get stronger overnight. It's how you all doing? Well, hopefully everyone is doing at least okay. Not better yet to be said. To be feeling all right. Oh, it's not best of all to be said. Then that is, well, best of all to be said. To be feeling less than stress, more blessed than stress. Too blessed to probably be calm or be stressed. You and yours, your family, friends, hoping me, man, likewise as well. All the same. I mean, as you know, we are all living in the last and evil days before the end of the world, the second coming of Christ. And you have persons saying this or that, who are supposed to be believers in God, as in Christians, aka Protestants. Where they say, yeah, man, if they come out with that Mark of the Beast 360s, I'm never taking that. That's just it. You never know what you would do in times like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some who could say that, claim that to be the case of the situation, and be literally actually telling it like it is. Hopefully, I'm one of them still, though lately I've been having the benefit of the doubt. No, I don't think I would take that, but you never know. I'm saying, as a matter of fact, speaking for the sake of argument, if times really be like, becoming ever so much of a challenge, whereas everything could hit the fan and you could become subject to experiencing a number of life crises. You don't know what you would do in times like that, when, different races or peoples or persons or whatever walks of life, factions, such as that, lifestyle preferences, like say, come natural or man-made disaster, where people could be raiding the different address location stores because of a short supply of item products, and riots could break out with all that snatch and grab action, confiscating, copping materials, be people or persons haven't paid for it or not, especially if they haven't, and they're not so much as thinking about their future, like for so many days and nights or weeks or months or years later, but they thinking about the here and now at this given moment. They say if the Russians or the Chinese were to drop an EMP, electronic magnetic pulse, that could cut off all electricity, and then, different families' food supply could start to spoil in the refrigerators, and they don't have, you know, like like say transmission to get their different automobiles and motor vehicles up and running if it is partially that is the service being supplied by means of electricity. This is gas operated, so I don't know. But then even gas motor vehicles rely on some kind of electricity. That for time to time, hopefully not so much as no the ignition process to get a car up and running. So you know, and if people first have health issues, then they will find it so hard to get around, to get to wherever it is they have to go in order to get supplies for their families, the different families, be they make purchases of item products or not, especially if they don't think to do so. Man. And especially that much more, it'd be double, triple, we said, if any suffer from, physical health maladies, ailments, or disabilities, or issues like I myself suffer from a couple few, I think I mentioned some such in times past, during the course of broadcasting some of such other videos before this one, and it may be considered by some compared to others like TMI, too much information, then because you don't know who could possibly become and be your friends, and likewise on, for that matter, enemies upon social media, in cyberspace. But then God has not given us a spirit of fear, but He has given us power. So with that having been said, I toss this to the side. I've been really that much more trying to walk by faith, not by sight, you all. Though it could cost me greatly if I have just as many haters or enemies or foes as well as friends upon the internet, for the cyber interstate international highway as we have it, social media for the different, networks. But I'm not gonna worry about it. Okay. And though those are some relevant subject matters or topic of discussions to be debated or given arguments worthy to consider with many different views and or opinions to be affiliated, associated with, and representing some or such thereof of the same of the said question of the former previous mentioned, but then that's not what I want to talk about as of the present time. For today's subject matter, topic of discussion or argument is having to do with, yes, dealing with, involving, regarding, making reference to tourette syndrome. Former ex-president Donald Trump, quit making fun of disabled people, disabled persons, be they mentally challenged or physically challenged, men that could. Boner Tourette syndrome is not funny. It's nothing to play with. No. Butthead. Bonehead. Boners. Bonehead butter. Bonehead. 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 Butthead. Butthead. Bonehead. Butthead boner. Bonehead boner. Tourette syndrome. Tourette. I don't have a golden ticket like Eric Cartman of the South Park cartoon episode. Tourette syndrome is not anything to play with. It's not funny. It's not. Get your mother and your mom out of the red light district, trying to get some money from the different Johns so that she can feed her family during this pandemic crisis that is taking place, or as it is happening upon an international, worldwide, or global level. Get your mama, your mom, your mother, or whatever, how to say it, out of the red light district, and tell her to quit, buying lottery tickets with her cash amount on a link card package. Booner. Yes, what do you all think, ladies and gentlemen, about Tourette's syndrome? I myself, not that I was making so much fun of it, but then sometimes the only way we could get over a physical or mental health issue is that we have to look at the lighter side of a given argument to try to speed up the recovery process. Not that anybody could ever be cured of certain physical health issues or mental ones for that matter altogether, but you have treatments for it and medical prescriptions. And so, what do you all think about Tourette? Huh? Show this to you, man.
I shot this edit on the new Motorola Edge and
let me see here. This is one on TikTok, This is a person that suffers from Tourette. Whatever Tourette is. See her name? What's her name? Her name is baylen.dupree. To compliments a South Park cartoon episode. Remember Eric was saying, I got a golden ticket. I got a golden ticket. Now, I'm not making fun of people or persons who have Tourette. I mean, I would be considered as having some form or some kind of Tourette syndrome myself. My p.t.s.d, post-traumatic stress disorder of a civilian nature as prior-military-enlistment-personnel.
You have a small, tiny, thick, airy little penis. Can't do anything about it, Jacob. Jacob, you're fat. The beans.
Whereas my form of Tourette syndrome being a PTSD could possibly have a lot to do with me being influenced by a native from damn hell, character, attempting to drive me completely bonkers, and likewise attempting to drive me out of house and home as he's a creep. Yes, not to mention a creep. So, a nutcase, sick or psycho, a really creepy, not necessarily stupid, but stupid enough, crazy, and demon possessed, Catholic like, nigga acting faggot or Catholic nigga faggot, attempting to do just that, as I've said, stated for the record. Because your
mom's fat and lazy.
That's her name. No, not the name from hell, but the woman I was making reference to that suffers from a form of Tourette syndrome herself. Like I know when it comes to that of p.t.s.d. And as I suspected, to have been influenced by a neighbor from down hell. So what are your views and opinions upon that, you all? the different haters, they shouldn't make boner, boner, hard boner against people or persons who suffer from tourette syndrome. Tourette syndrome. You know, be one were to be former ex-president Donald Trump or whoever else for that matter. But then may Donald Trump, you know, may he become president of the USA once again, provided that in the meantime he act right and don't be attempting to incite riot or encourage others to attempt to overthrow the government or be someone or such a one that is a co-conspirator in an insurrection attempt against the U.S. government. Then by all means may former ex-president Donald Trump become president of the USA in 2024 and 24. Not that I'm wagging a dog. That's an old corn phrase, expression meaning to change the subject by speaking upon something else. You know. But getting back to the original topic of discussion or subject matter or issue at hand, you know, whereas I can relate to people or persons who could have the much more severe, you know, case of tourette syndrome than how I could possibly have a minor case of it when it comes to that of p.t.s.d. being a form of it, post-traumatic stress disorder. You know what I'm saying? I can relate. I can sympathize and empathize with persons being other likes. No internet trolls of closet sexual predator animal monster characters, rapists, especially pedophiles, should think to take a peek at my social media broadcast of video being as we have it as the present given moment that, you know, they should not think to take a peek at it if they are like the male characters as that being more than their female rival counterparts. You know, they should not think to come in here with that of their nonsense of so much boners of their mind's intentions, so much of bonehead boners, so much bonehead boners, and because they're not welcome here in my broadcast, you know. Anyway, though, so that's what I really want to speak on at the moment, y'all. And like, where's this one neighbor, man, this one proverbial neighbor from down here, a pollution problem neighbor, among the dime dozen of likes his kind, could possibly be influencing that being of my own Tourette syndrome, you know, attempting to not only drive me completely bonkers, but attempting to drive me out of house and home likewise as well, all the same, you know. Yeah. Being that because he himself is a sick or psycho and not necessarily equally as well an idiot or moron or a stupid or dumb cock. One thing I do know is that himself is a dickhead, prick, bullet, gay pedophile Catholic people wannabe, no Catholic, who continues to attempt to not only disrespect my rights and privileges as his fellow neighbor, but likewise as well all the same, you know, violate his own apartment rental lease, you know. And hopefully he hasn't somehow, you know, done something to sabotage my general physical health. Whereas lately, I have just been feeling up under the weather that much more once again. feeling worse compared to how I was supposed to be starting to feel better, then I suspect that, partly the reason why I'm feeling like I am as the present given moment time could possibly have something to do with him, as well as a doctor and or nurse likewise, at two different hospitals at two different times when I paid a visit to two different medical facilities, premises of properties, and different given address location, be some or such would be public or private. You know, whereas I wondered if any of them had given me the VACCINE without my knowledge as well as without my permission, without my consent. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not like, I'm saying that I'm not going to take it, but neither nor am I saying that I am going to take it. And hopefully nobody has given it to me regardless of whatever my decision on those matters could possibly come or be in the future. I'm just unsure about it, till I were to do more my own personal research upon it and get much more credible information coming from others in that same 9,000 sense word in reference to these matters, then you know, regardless of whether I'm for it or against it, I'm not going to make any rash decisions without, doing a much more thorough research of some of such matters. After all, it's my life we're talking about, not somebody else's. That could possibly be affected by a doctor's or nurse's decision. So until I get more credible information on it, just consider me in the neutral zone. I'm not necessarily, like speaking for it, neither nor against it. I just want more information before I would seriously weigh my options that much more and decide whether or not I want to take it or go through the necessary process to, have it be administered to me. And with that having been said, and so much for that conversation. Anyway, though, and not to mean it has strayed from the original topic of discussion, but I think I'm going to close out shortly, Okay. And speaking upon some of the other matter, the original subject matter topic discussion or given argument, whereas who's to say whether or not certain persons they may be faking Tourette syndrome compared to others who would, generally had been or was diagnosed with that other medical health issue being of a physical nature as that Tourette syndrome, and nobody should take advantage of, the physically handicapped or the mentally challenged. Anyways, I'm partially physically handicapped and I'm partially mentally challenged. And whereas Tourette syndrome, in my case would be, taking on the form of PTSD. But then on that last note of interest, I would like to say, to you all, as I would usually give an introduction, I would likewise as well all the same, and do forgive me if I butcher the English language of the American dialect. I never professed to have become or be an English major, neither nor an English professor. But then, just as I would usually give the basic intro, I would speak upon the subject matter maybe a couple, 3 or 4 more for that matter, depending on how I could possibly feel at some such a given moment in time. To speak upon this or that, speaking on how I feel or how many subject matters, type of discussion, or giving arguments with many different views and opinions, be associated with some of such or representing thereof and to be debated. And then last but not least, I will give the closing. And like by saying, if you haven't gotten Christ, so I paraphrase, not quote exactly, as I have done so in times past as well, as give a basic intro and then speak upon the subject matter, a couple few or more for the matter, depending on how I feel. Then if you haven't gotten Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, I would hope that you would think to do so now while the blood is still running warm in your veins. By recognizing and realizing what he himself had done and did upon the cross, Calvary Hill of Golgotha, suffering at the hands of some such Roman soldiers, upon the orders of their superior being of religious and political nature, etc. Pharisees and Sadducees and Centurion Caesars, etc. But then nevertheless, he went to that cross of Calvary, become the perfect sacrifice. The only sacrifice for you as well as for me, so that any of us being of whatsoever race and whatever walks of life, being of the old and young alike, both two sexual gender, male and female, represent not only the human species, but then nevertheless that the global community are the same, being of the males and females alike, both the two sexual genders, of the old and young. Within this post 911 era of a new millennium of the apocalyptic day and age, where doomsday clock is now at a couple few minutes to midnight compared to our phone. Prior to then was a quarter midnight for these battles biblically prophetic time. Word to profess some such faith in him. From there we become and be blessed in one regard or another, more ways than one. First and foremost, with his salvation being of which is the only means by which any of us can or could possibly become citizens of the kingdom of heaven. The second of all, which is deliverance. But first, we have got to get his salvation, otherwise, you have nothing coming. And where's your final destination, once you were to cross on over to the great beyond the hereafter afterlife without that blood sacrifice of his, will be the lake of fire down hell to burn for all eternity and be tortured likewise by the devil and the demons. Compared to how we, as believing God, would be across that great divide that separates heaven from hell. Say that separates heaven from hell, and a company of like-minded believers in presence of God and his angels otherwise. Hey, you all take care and be safe. Be blessed, not stressed. Peace and love, joy and happiness. And until we meet again, then it's a wrap. And I hope you all have gotten something out of what I was like saying, especially in due regard reference to that being the salvation of Christ, our Lord and Savior. You all take care. We out. Peace.